Investor appetite for new listings showing no signs of slowing down. Firefly Aerospace priced its IPO at $45 a share. That is above its already raised range. Firefly CEO Jason Kim joins us now along with our own Morgan Brennan. Morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Melissa and Jason. Welcome and congratulations on the milestone today. I hear you're 25 times oversubscribed. Huge appetite going into this IPO. Why are you going public now and what does it enable?
Well, first of all, I have to start by saying yes, because the past times I've interviewed with you, you always asked, are we going to go IPO? So that's our answer. We've really set up ourselves for going public since our inception. We've got 4 revenue-generating products that are all mature, and we've got flight heritage on our Alpha rocket just on our second launch. And we landed on the moon. We're the first company to commercially land on the moon successfully, upright, stable, and everybody talks about the landing, but it's more about the mission. And we did the 14-day surface operations and provided all that data to NASA, and all 10 NASA science experiments got all their missions objectives, completed.
Yeah, you made history with that Blue Ghost mission, and you have a demo out here in Times Square of Blue Ghost amid the IPO today as well. We're seeing a huge appetite, both in private and public markets, for what I will call new space and defense tech companies such as Firefly. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think you've heard from the CEO of NASDAQ, Adina Friedman. She said that the market is really strong and growing right now. We're seeing a lot of growing engagement with the investor community. And if you look at some of the things that we're doing, like the 24-hour tactically responsive space launch and the successful lunar landing, and we're building a 16-ton reusable rocket called Eclipse, as well as a multi-mission orbital vehicle called Electra. Those are all things that are going to help with future space domain awareness missions, future Golden Dome missions. There's annual lunar landing missions, and you just heard the Secretary of the Department of Transportation and acting NASA administrators say that they're interested in putting nuclear power plants on the moon. So we were the first commercial company to do that. So we want to be able to contribute all of our capabilities to support all those great missions.
Now, I know it from speaking to you and others on the Manifest Space podcast that I have, the importance of the moon. But just to break it down, the geopolitical, the economic, and the business case that comes off of those, of actually going back to the moon, establishing the moon, and building out infrastructure of the moon.
Well, if you're, first in space, you're first, everywhere. So one of the things about space is it's really hard. We've experienced that over many, many years. It's a very hazardous environment, harsh environment, but landing on the moon is even harder, and we accomplished that. And so we always tell our Fireflies, and there's 750 plus Fireflies that are going to be joining in the celebration. They're with us in New York, and they're in Briggs, Texas as well today. But we always say, if you execute, as long as you execute, you can do bigger and bolder missions.
So you have 2 rockets, the small rocket, Alpha. You've got a medium lift rocket that you're developing with Northrop Grumman, which also has a stake in your company. You have the space tugs that you just talked about, and you have these lunar landers. $1.1 billion pipeline, but only $56 million in revenue in the first quarter. You're not profitable yet. What's the pathway to get there?
Well, I think you just saw last Tuesday that NASA awarded us our 4th Blue Ghost lunar lander, so we're really excited about that mission. We're kicking that off. We're not wasting any time. So we're going to have annual lunar lander missions. So that actually increases our backlog from 1.1 to 1.3 billion. So we're really happy about that. It's all about execution. We're focused on rating up our Alpha rockets because there's so much demand for the responsive, dedicated 1-ton launches, from national security, from commercial, as well as hypersonic missile testing. And then in addition to that, there's so much demand for launching constellations, both commercial constellations. There's going to be a lot of scarcity in the 2027 timeframe and beyond. So we're going to help address that demand with our supplier of our Eclipse rockets as well. Not to mention National Security Space Launch Program. That's something that's really important to us, and we want to onboard into the National Security Space Launch Program and start launching all those critical high-stakes constellations in space as well. And Electra, I'm really excited about Electra because it is a very maneuverable satellite. It's very flexible. It's got a lot of thrust as well as a lot of delta V. So if you think about what's going on with Golden Dome, they're going to need a lot of space-based interceptor hosts. that's what Electra is really purpose-built for.
Where do you want this to open? Do you want it to open at 100 or do you want it to open at 46? We always talk about that. Do you wish you raised more? You raised the range already, right? And this is the high end of the range.
I think that just goes to show that there's strong
What will make you really happy?
demand.
What will make you smile?
I think what would make...
What?
He's already smiling.
It's the largest space IPO in U.S. in history.
What was Figma oversubscribed? How much? You're 25 times. So what was Figma?
It was up there. I would say what would make me smile is what would make my employees smile. Because...
Well, okay, then what will make them smile? 60?
Well, I think they want to do more of what they want to do. They want to do bold missions. They want to do
I hear 90?
Game-changing missions that's going to make a difference for the world.
Anything but 35 would be good, probably. That would never happen, I don't think. Would it? Do you have a? Can you tell me where it's going to open? No.
I can't, but I will tell you that some of the companies, space and defense tech companies that we've seen IPO this year, have all had gangbuster openings and very strong debuts. There's a huge amount. There's a huge amount, and that's why we just touched on it, of appetite for this subsector of aerospace and defense right now.
So I would add on to that there are 3 companies in the nation, in America, that have orbital flight heritage with their rockets. Out of those 3, one is Firefly, and out of those 3, only one has landed on the moon successfully.
And it was Firefly and Blue Ghost.
That's right.
We'll be watching. We'll be watching the first trades later today, and as I just mentioned, largest U.S. space IPO to date, and one of the largest in the industrial space in general in the last 20 years.
It just goes to, it's a testament to our people. I mean, we have 750 plus Fireflies.
Jason, thank you. In our own Morgan, Brennan, thanks.